95% of men over 60 are doing exercises right now that their trainers swear by. And those exact movements are quietly grinding their joints into dust, while sabotaging the muscle gains they're working so hard for. I'm not talking about obscure gym moves either. I'm talking about exercises you've probably done 1,000 times, exercises that feel productive, that make you sweat, that seem safe. And here's the kicker. A 2022 biomechanics review found that certain classic exercises create up to 4 times the shear force on aging joint cartilage, compared to safer alternatives that build the exact same muscle. My name is Marcus Reed. I spent over a decade as a professional athlete, and now I spend my days helping men over 50 build strength without falling apart in the process. Today, I'm going to walk you through 4 exercises that are doing more harm than good after 60, the biological reason why your body responds differently to these movements now, and exactly what to do instead, moves that target the same muscles, deliver the same results, but respect the joints you've got left. By the end of this video, you'll know the 4 exercises to drop immediately, the science of why your tendons and cartilage age differently than your muscles, and the precise swaps that protect your knees, shoulders, and spine while still building serious strength. And stick around for the X-Factor bonus, one underrated recovery habit that can accelerate your results by making everything else in this video work better. 1. The behind-the-neck shoulder press. Raymond, 67, had been doing behind-the-neck presses since his college football days. It was his shoulder day staple. Then, one morning, reaching for a coffee mug on a high shelf, his shoulder locked up with a pain so sharp he dropped the mug. An MRI showed a partial rotator cuff tear and significant impingement. Here's the mechanism. Behind-the-neck pressing forces your shoulder into extreme external rotation combined with abduction, essentially cranking the joint into a position it was never designed to hold under load. In your 20s and 30s, your rotator cuff tendons have enough collagen elasticity and blood supply to tolerate that stress. But after 60, tendon vascularity drops significantly, meaning less blood flow delivers fewer repair nutrients to that tissue. Combine that with decades of micro tears accumulating in the subacromial space, and you've got a shoulder that's one bad rep away from a serious injury. The behind-the-neck position also narrows what's called the subacromial space, the gap your rotator cuff tendons pass through, increasing the odds of impingement every single rep. The fix isn't to stop training shoulders. It's to switch to a landmine press or a neutral grip dumbbell press performed in front of the body. 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps, twice a week, controlled tempo. 2 seconds up, 3 seconds down. This keeps the shoulder in what's called the scapular plane, a position roughly 30 degrees forward of your side, which is where your shoulder joint is biomechanically strongest and safest. Now, here's the objection I hear constantly. But Marcus, I've done this exercise for 40 years and my shoulders are fine, and maybe they are today. But cumulative joint stress works like a ledger. You don't see the withdrawal until the account's empty. There's another piece of this puzzle too. As testosterone and growth hormone naturally decline with age, the rate at which your body lays down new collagen in tendons slows down as well. So any damage you accumulate now gets repaired more slowly than it would have at 30. That's not a reason to panic, it's a reason to be smarter about which positions you load. The good news? Once Raymond switched to the landmine press, his pain disappeared within 3 weeks. And he actually added size to his shoulders he hadn't seen in years. But shoulders were just the beginning. What happens to your spine when you're still doing this next exercise might surprise you even more. 2. The traditional sit-up. Gerald, 64, was proud of his core. 40 sit-ups every morning, just like the army taught him decades ago. But his lower back pain had gotten so bad he could barely tie his shoes. He assumed it was just getting old. It wasn't. It was the sit-ups. Here's why. A traditional sit-up creates repetitive spinal flexion, your spine curling forward, under load, over and over. Research on lumbar disc mechanics shows that repeated flexion combined with compressive load is one of the most reliable ways to accelerate disc degeneration because it pushes pressure toward the back of the intervertebral discs with every single rep. After 60, your discs have already lost a significant percentage of their water content. They're less like a fresh grape and more like a raisin. Less hydration means less shock absorption, which means every flexion rep under load is essentially grinding dry surfaces against each other. And here's the part most people miss. When those discs get irritated repeatedly, the body responds with low-grade local inflammation, which can elevate cortisol in the surrounding tissue. Chronically elevated cortisol doesn't just affect your mood or your belly fat. It actively interferes with collagen synthesis, meaning your spine's connective tissue has an even harder time repairing itself while it's being irritated daily. The fix is anti-rotation and anti-extension core work movements that train your core to resist motion rather than create it. Think dead bugs, planks, and pull-off presses. 3 sets of 30 to 45 second holds for planks, or 10 to 12 controlled reps per side for pull-off presses 3 times a week. These build the deep stabilizing muscles, your transverse abdominis and multifidus, without a single degree of spinal flexion. And here's the objection buster. This isn't easier core training. It's harder because you're training the muscles to hold a position under tension rather than just moving through a range of motion. Gerald's back pain dropped by more than half in 4 weeks, and his core actually got visibly stronger. Not just less painful, but stronger. But here's where it gets interesting. The next exercise on this list is one almost every gym goer over 60 still does, believing it's low impact. 3. The deep bodyweight squat to the floor. Victor, 71, prided himself on his squat depth. Ass to grass, as the younger guys say. He thought deeper meant better. Then his knees started swelling after every workout, and stairs became his enemy. The mechanism here involves something called patellofemoral compressive force, the pressure between your kneecap and your thigh bone. As your knee bends past roughly 110 to 120 degrees, that compressive force increases dramatically, sometimes exceeding several times your body weight at the deepest point of the squat. Now layer on this. After 60, articular cartilage, the smooth cushioning tissue on the end of your bones, has typically thinned, and its ability to regenerate is dramatically reduced because chondrocytes, the cells responsible for cartilage repair, become less active with age. You're asking thinner, less repairable cartilage to absorb more force at greater depths. That's a losing equation. The fix isn't to stop squatting. Squats are one of the best things you can do for your legs, your hormones, and your longevity. In fact, heavy compound movements like squats trigger a temporary suppression of myostatin, the protein that puts the brakes on muscle growth, which is exactly why preserving your ability to squat matters so much as you age. The fix is to train box squats, or squats to a bench, hitting roughly 90 degrees of knee flexion, no deeper. 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps, twice a week, focusing on driving through your heels, and controlling the descent for a full 3-second count. This still recruits your quads, glutes, and hamstrings powerfully. You're just protecting the joint surfaces that can't repair themselves the way they used to. Here's the objection I know is coming. Doesn't a smaller range of motion mean smaller results? Not even close. Muscle growth depends on mechanical tension and metabolic stress within a safe range, not on chasing maximum depth. Victor switched to box squats. His knee swelling disappeared within 2 weeks, and he's now squatting more weight than he ever did going deep because he's not fighting through pain to do it. But the 4th exercise on this list might be the most surprising one yet, because almost everyone thinks it's the safest cardio option out there. 4. High-impact running on hard surfaces. Arthur, 70, ran 3 miles every morning on the pavement near his house. He'd done it for 20 years and swore it kept him young. But his hips had started aching so badly that he was popping ibuprofen just to get through his day, and he assumed that was just the price of staying active. Here's the biology. Every time your foot strikes pavement while running, your body absorbs a ground reaction force of roughly 2 to 3 times your body weight, and that force travels up through your ankles, knees, and hips. In your 30s, your joints have enough cartilage thickness and synovial fluid production to cushion that repetitive impact. After 60, synovial fluid, the lubricant inside your joints, tends to decrease in volume and viscosity, meaning less cushioning with every single stride. Combine that with cumulative impact from decades of running, and you've got hip and knee joints absorbing forces they're increasingly less equipped to handle. The fix isn't to abandon cardio. Cardio is essential for cardiovascular health, mitochondrial function, and even cognitive longevity. Steady-state aerobic work also activates AMPK, a cellular energy sensor that improves how efficiently your muscles use glucose and fat for fuel. A pathway that becomes increasingly important after 60 as your body develops what's called anabolic resistance, meaning your muscles need more stimulus to respond the way they used to. The fix is to shift toward incline walking, cycling, or rucking carrying a weighted backpack while walking. 20 to 30 minutes, 4 to 5 times a week, at a pace where you can speak in short sentences but not sing. This delivers the same cardiovascular benefit, the same mitochondrial stimulus. Those mitochondria, by the way, are essentially the aging power plants inside every cell in your body, and they respond beautifully to sustained aerobic effort, without the repetitive impact that's been hammering your joints for decades. Arthur swapped his runs for incline treadmill, walking with a weighted vest, and within 6 weeks, his hip pain was gone, and his resting heart rate actually improved more than it had during years of running. Now, before I give you the one habit that can multiply the results of everything I just covered, I want to hear from you. Here's my question for you, and I want you to actually answer it in the comments. Which of these 4 exercises have you been doing for years without realizing it was working against you? Is it your shoulders, your back, your knees, or your hips that have been quietly paying the price? Type the number 1, 2, 3, or 4. And I'll be reading through these, because honestly, your answers help me figure out exactly what to cover next. Here's the habit that doubles the effectiveness of every single swap I just gave you. Prioritize 10 minutes of joint-specific mobility work immediately after your workout, while your tissues are still warm. Here's the mechanism. When your muscles and connective tissue are warm, collagen fibers become more pliable, allowing for better range of motion gains, and improved circulation to the joint capsule itself. This post-workout window is when synovial fluid is most actively circulating, distributing nutrients to cartilage surfaces that have just been under load. Spend 2 minutes each on your shoulders, spine, hips, and knees, with slow, controlled movements through their full pain-free range. This single habit accelerates recovery, reduces next-day stiffness, and compounds the joint protective benefits of every exercise swap you just learned. It costs you 10 minutes. The return is years of mobility. If you made it this far, you're not like most guys your age. You're in the top 5%. Most men either ignore the warning signs until it's too late, or they stop training altogether out of fear. You're doing neither. You're adapting, you're learning the mechanisms behind your own body, and that puts you in elite company. If this video gave you even one thing you can change starting tomorrow, share it with another guy who needs to hear it. Because information only matters if it reaches the people who need it. Strength isn't about what you could do at 30. It's about what you choose to protect at 60, 70, and beyond. Train smart, move with purpose, and I'll see you in the next one.